I'm Matt from Haltech, and today on Haltech Heroes, I'm here with Andrew Brilliant with his AMB Eclipse, and we're going to talk a little bit about time attack cars and what it takes to make one. So Andrew, firstly, welcome.
Thank you.
And tell me about the car. What is it?
It's a Mitsubishi Eclipse, so it's a little bit rare in Australia.
An Eclipse. Now I spent a bit of time in the States, and I know roughly about an Eclipse, but they came in four-wheel drive and front-wheel drive, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so how did this one start life?
This has always been a front-wheel drive. Actually, It's a convertible, which only came in front-wheel drive.
All right, so you're a bit of a gun-for-hire, mercenary aero guy. That's what brought you to Australia.
Yeah.
How many time attack cars do you actually have over here at the moment?
I think I have maybe 6 or 7 cars in competition this
So
year.
what do you got?
So in the Pro class, probably most notable are the ARK Design GTR, which is a Team USA car.
Team USA, yep.
And then there's Scorch Racing Sylvia,
Yep.
and also there's Danny Irvine's 20B MX-5,
MX-5, right, yeah.
in the open class.
All right, so you've got a whole bunch of cars here in Australia.
Yes.
Plus your own car.
Yes.
Tell us about this car.
So what's special about the Aero package for this? Actually, it's designed specifically for Eastern Creek, and the big challenge that we had at Eastern Creek was that it's a very sweeping circuit, whereas the US tracks were kind of very point and shoot, put the power down in a straight line. And so here, why we decided to go for a really high downforce Aero package was because of those sweeping turns where you want to accelerate out of the corners. And it would make a big difference with that downforce, with the amount of traction that we could get when we would be traction limited otherwise.
Okay, so you tell me you've got a significantly higher amount of downforce. What does that give you in the real world? What does that mean? I mean, more traction, but what percentage was it? 50%?
Yeah, 100% more.
100% more downforce.
Double the
downforce. What does that give you in the real world on the racetrack?
On the real world on the racetrack, that should be about 3.5 to 4.5 seconds per lap.
Okay, so that's a lot of speed. How do you gain that? Does that mean a corner that you might have been doing 100 k's an hour in, now you could do 120 or 130? What does it relate to speed-wise to have all that extra downforce?
You can see a drastic difference like that in a very high-speed corner, such as Turn 1 at Eastern Creek, but really it's a cumulative thing around a lot of corners at Eastern Creek, and that's really what Aero is all about at that track, is getting you, if you take an extra tenth in 7 corners, it adds up. Okay,
cool. So tell me about the Haltech ECU, because obviously you're running a Haltech ECU on this car. Tell me about the Haltech ECU and Aero, and is there a link between the two there, or is it sort of just separate? One's an engine, one's Aero, they come together.
Yeah, well, so one of going back to the same critical problem that we discovered the first time we raced at Eastern Creek, we thought that the solution to it was twofold, and one of them was aerodynamic, and the second was with managing the power that we have in the car. Our disadvantage is that we are a heavier and higher power car compared to our competitors that have minimum weights, 300 kilogram less than ours. So how do we compete with those cars? We have to put power to the ground. And the way that we were going to do that was via aerodynamics and controlling that power via the Haltech ECU. Okay,
so this is really interesting. Tell me a little bit about how the ECU power delivery can work in conjunction with the Aero. Give me some examples maybe.
Yeah, so for example, there are several corners at Eastern Creek which are what I call transitional, where you're coming in and out of aerodynamic forces. So you initially get on the throttle, it's purely mechanical. You're not going fast enough for Aero. When that happens, we need a way to control the power because it's too much workload for a driver to do that, and it's too difficult on a turbo car to modulate power down to 10 horsepower or whatever it is that he needs to do. So we want to rely on this powerful new electronic systems in order to make it simpler for the driver to do all that. And also they can control that completely in a way that a human could never do.
So I've had a little bit of a sneak preview of some of the maps we've been setting up on the Elite ECU on your car here. You're doing full 3D mapping of the boost in each and every individual gear. You're doing full 3D mapping of the fuel and the ignition timing in each and every gear. So you essentially have a whole new engine tune for each and every gear. Is this part of that whole working the Aero in with the power management?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So we have a program where we start out with simulation work and we model the tires and we work out about where we think we can be in terms of what we can do with acceleration, and then we use the ECU to converge on where we think the car needs to be and make it simpler for the driver.
Man, that sounds awesome. Sounds like you got your package together there. The car is working with ECU, with Aero. Sounds like a really nice package. Tell me about the engine. What have you got in there?
Yep, it's a 4G63 engine. It's the same drivetrain as an Evo 1 through 3, which you guys would be familiar with here.
Except we get four-wheel drive, and this is only a front-wheel drive.
That's correct, but it is a four-wheel drive gearbox, and
Okay.
it's the same drivetrain, but it's set up only for front-wheel drive.
Okie dokie. Turbo, obviously, to make that kind of horsepower. What?
Yep, it's a precision turbocharger.
Yep.
6262.
Okay.
Yep, and engine's been fully built, of course,
Yep.
internally. Yep.
And horsepower-wise, what do you think we'll go to Eastern Creek with this year?
I expect this year we should probably sit around 620 wheel horsepower. That's been proven to be a reliable number for us years on end.
Awesome, awesome. And who's driving?
Jack LeBrock, who you guys may know well.
A local boy. That's awesome. Well, Andrew, thanks for coming by. We appreciate it. Thanks for letting us see your car, and we can't wait to see you at Time Attack in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
Thank you.
you.